Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend that he can't date younger and then get upset about my budget apartment? So I recently got together with a guy for my hobby. He asked me out first, but I had some doubts that we'd work together as a couple because of the age difference. He's 35 and I'm 22. So in my apartment, since it's an old house that was originally a single-family house, there isn't much soundproofing and the floors creak when people move. I've gotten used to the sound of the guy upstairs getting up at 4 a.m. since he starts work at 5, and the sound of the girls in the apartments to either side of mine watching telenovelas till midnight, taking work calls all day and having friends over on weekend nights. I know when I play music or have friends over, some of the sounds leak through the walls. So I never get upset about hearing my neighbors because it goes both ways. So, when my boyfriend started coming over more often, he had complaints about the neighbors, which put me in an awkward place. He wanted to go speak to them or have me text them and I said no. For example, one of the early times he stayed over, we went to bed around 10. He wanted me to ask my neighbor to turn down her TV. I said she didn't have it that loud, and she turns it off at midnight anyway. At 4 a.m. he got very irritated with my upstairs neighbor getting up and cooking breakfast. I said that he would be done by 5 because that's when his shift starts. At 7 a.m., he was still trying to sleep in, and the neighbor on the other side had some work calls and that he said he couldn't sleep through. I offered him earplugs and he said he couldn't sleep with them in either. He wanted me to ask her to quiet down. He had similar comments every time he heard someone else in the building just living their lives, especially if it was when he was in bed. I got frustrated with my boyfriend and told him, you can't expect to date a hot young 22-year-old and not want to deal with a 22-year-old's living situation. I don't know if you realize, but this is a normal apartment for someone my age. Hell, my neighbors are pretty great. Nobody's throwing loud parties on work nights. Nobody's having screaming fights. Nobody's having babies. The hot young part was in sarcastic air quotes because those were his words, not mine. He got irritated and asked why I was bringing age into it. And I said it's because he can't both want someone so young and also want someone with house kind of money. And he was being so out of touch with how normal people in their 20s live. He got really irritated with me bringing age into it. And even more annoyed when I'd respond to his neighbor complaints in the future with, "Okay, boomer," or tell him that if he wanted me to have a rich person apartment, he could pay for it. Am I the a-hole for what I said to my boyfriend about my apartment? Edit. A lot of comments are asking if we could stay at his house. It's not possible for me to get to his house on my own because I don't have a car, and the buses don't go that far into the suburbs. So that would mean him driving 30 minutes from his house in the suburbs to pick me up, then an extra 30 to drive me to his house, then an hour round trip early in the morning to get me home in time for work. It's a lot easier for him to visit me in the city. Edit 2. A lot of people in the comments are saying technically 35 is a millennial and not a boomer. I know that. I'm using boomer as a joke or a figure of speech to say acting out of touch and entitled to tell other people what to do. It is a common figure of speech to say, "Okay, boomer," to someone who is acting entitled regardless of their actual age. It's more of a mindset thing. Am I the a-hole for kicking my stepson out after he tried stealing my necklace while I was asleep? My stepson, 19, got kicked out of his mother's house after stealing and selling a very expensive item from her husband. He was going from a friend's house to another until my husband brought him in. I wasn't thrilled to have him in the apartment given his reputation, but he was almost homeless and needed help, so I agreed to let him stay with us till we worked something out with his mom. Truth be told, he's pretty respectful. Helped with chores, washed ours and the neighbors' cars for cash, so I thought he had changed. But something strange started happening. My 3K necklace disappeared once, and I accidentally found it in the bathroom cabinet. Then it disappeared again and I was lucky to find it, but it was somehow hidden under the couch when I found it. I started realizing that my stepson was attempting to steal the necklace, but I kept finding it when he'd hid it. So I decided to wear it to keep it safe. Monday evening, I was napping in my bedroom while my husband was at work. I fell into deep sleep, then suddenly got waken up by feeling someone's fingers on the back of my neck. I found my stepson trying to open my necklace's clasp. I was lying on one side and I turned and saw him. I started panicking and he took some steps back telling me to calm down. I sat up and yelled asking what he was doing and he started stuttering. I figured he was trying to steal the necklace from me. I yelled at him to get out, then called my husband crying. My husband got home and tried to work the situation out by making his son apologize, but I said I won't have him here any longer. I don't feel safe anymore after he tried to snatch my necklace while I was sleeping. And this wasn't even the first time he tried to steal the necklace. My husband said his son had nowhere to go and it'd be cruel to kick him out, but I demanded that he leave. He went to a friend's house, and my husband got back and picked a fight with me about how I'm putting him in a position to choose between his son and me. He kept convincing me to let him return and promised to make him swear he won't do it, but I refused. I'm honestly worried and cannot be sleeping with both eyes closed with a son in the house. Am I justified in my action? Am I the a-hole for embarrassing my boyfriend when we split the bill at a fancy restaurant? I'm 25, my boyfriend is 35, and we have been together for almost exactly 3 years. And a funny coincidence, both of our birthdays and our anniversary, the day we met, all happen in the same week. This year, we decided he would organize a surprise for my birthday. I would organize a surprise for his birthday, and then for our anniversary, we would go out together for a nice dinner to celebrate. We discussed budget in advance, and we agreed that we would split the cost of the dinner. It was a set tasting menu, so we knew the exact price ahead of time. My birthday did not go well. My boyfriend lied to me about taking the day off work and kept disappearing to the bathroom to answer emails and make calls when we were at the museum together. I didn't ask or expect him to take the day off. I'd have been fine doing something in the evening. Then for my present, he gave me a pastry made of a specific ingredient that I'm allergic to, so I couldn't eat it. Then he left at 8 p.m. because he wanted to watch a football game, so I ended up spending my birthday night alone. The next day, I told him I felt like he'd given zero thought to my birthday, and it made me feel like I was a burden on him. He just said he'd done his best, and I need to learn to be grateful when other people try. His birthday went off without any issue. I had specialty food and wine shipped in from his home country, got his favorite childhood recipes from his grandmother, and spent several days preparing a dinner built around his preferences and dietary requirements. He loved it. Then came our anniversary. We agreed in advance to split the bill, but by then I was hoping that he'd offer to cover it. Not because of the money, but as a gesture of apology for how my birthday went. At the end of dinner, I asked if he still wanted to split. He replied, "Yeah, but it would look weird if we ask for separate checks since this is a nice place. So I'll pay here and you can transfer me the money afterwards." I honestly saw red. When the waitress came over with the bill, I said, "We'll actually be splitting." She asked how we wanted to split, and I said I'd pay for the wine and my food. So in total, I paid for about 70% of the bill. My boyfriend just shrugged and paid for the remaining amount. As soon as we left, he said I humiliated him and acted like a spoiled brat, and he couldn't change the past, and I need to learn to move on when I'm annoyed. I said my issue wasn't about changing the past, but one, he hadn't even properly apologized for my birthday or tried to make up for it in any way. And two, he cared more about the restaurant staff thinking that he was a big spender treating me to a fancy dinner, when I'd actually be paying for half of the meal. He said I'm the a-hole because we agreed to split the bill, so I had no right to be annoyed about it. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter to butt out of my personal life and asking her to stay with her mom? So, me, 35 male, and my ex-wife, Holly, 35 female, have a 16-year-old daughter named Shay. Me and Holly started dating when we were 14 and divorced 1.5 years ago. The reason was she felt like she hasn't experienced dating since we got together so young, and she was getting curious but didn't want to step out on me. So I agreed not to hold her back, and we divorced. We immediately got Shay into therapy, and she handled the whole thing really well, at first. Well, I started to date. It was weird but kinda exciting. Shay was happy for me and encouraged me to go on dates. Well, everything changed. Me and Holly spent the night together 8 months ago, and my daughter found us the next morning. She was giddy, but we explained to her that we weren't getting back together, that we just have a very strong bond and are best friends, but she shouldn't have found out. Ever since, Shay's been a nightmare. I was dating a teacher from her school and she tried to sabotage it. Shay would show up on our dates. We track each other's location. She would constantly bring up her mom in front of the girl I was dating. She was rude to her. Eventually, we split because she didn't want the drama. The past 8 months, Shay had been sending me pictures of her and her mom in workout classes. She keeps telling me about Holly's new fitness. Holly has lost weight and she looks freaking incredible, but I kept telling her that me and her mom are better apart right now. About 4 months ago, Holly calls me. She admitted to drinking a bottle of wine and saying some stuff to Shay. She told her the reason we split up, and that she regretted it and wanted the family back together, and that she was done dating because she hated it. I sat down Shay and explained to her again my stance, that I absolutely love her and her mom, and that there was definitely a possibility of reconciliation down the line, but at this point I was having fun. So I started to see Shay's friend's mom around this time. We kept it from the girls until we thought it was real. Shay freaked out. She cut off her friend, and she sent my girlfriend a lengthy Facebook message that basically said she was wasting her time, that I was in love with my ex. I talked to Shay about how inappropriate that was, and we got her back into therapy. So last week, my girlfriend was trying to get something from my house. I was at home, but Shay was. My girlfriend knocked on the door, but Shay saw who it was and wouldn't open the door. I called her and told her to open it, and she refused. I had to run home from work to let my girlfriend in. I was furious with Shay. I basically told her that she needed to butt out of my personal life, and that maybe it would be best if she stayed at her mom's. We don't have a formal custody agreement for a while, until she could accept that I was dating. She left and I called Holly, but Holly thinks I'm being an a-hole. Am I? Am I the a-hole for not equally splitting my deceased mother's fabric in quilts I made for my siblings? I'm male 39, am the youngest of 6 children. I was a surprise kid late in my parents' life, and I was a young teen when my mom started to get antsy and want to get out of the house more. She started taking hobby classes. I got dragged along to each and every one. Because of this, I have a wide array of very weird crafting knowledges. Crochet, knitting, basket weaving, quilting, cake decoration, oil painting. While I'm not a master of any of them, I'm fairly competent. After my mother died, I started using her old crafting supplies to make gifts for my siblings out of her things. Everyone got an afghan, scarf, egg basket, etc. It was my way of making sure mom was still there every year. The quilts are where things get a little hinky. I made 3 quilt tops before I ran out of fabric. There wasn't enough to make them all, and I didn't realize it until I was too deep into the project. I ran out and grabbed some fabric. I did my best to get a really broad variety of scraps to keep it from being obvious. I did a few adjustments, split 2 of the existing quilt tops, and added on more using the new scraps. I wanted everyone to have at least some of mom's fabric in their quilt. When I wrapped them, I didn't bother to put names on them. Everyone just grabbed the package and were delighted to have a nice quilt. It was the last of my mother's son crafting projects, and I was glad to be finished with them all. I ended up mentioning to my sister over dinner last week that only one of the quilts was entirely mom's fabric, because I had run out of fabric. She immediately asked me which one, and I said I wasn't sure who had gotten it. I didn't at the time. I'd explained again that there wasn't enough fabric to go around. She starts to get annoyed, wanting to know why I didn't make sure to give the one that was entirely mom's fabric to her, since she was the oldest. You can see where this is going. This snowballed. My sister called my other siblings to solve the mystery, and now siblings are all texting and posting pictures of their quilts, trying to figure out who got the real one and who were fakes. I now know, thanks to all the pictures, exactly which one is made entirely of her fabric, but I'm playing stupid. You can't have that much fabric laying in your lap for months without recognizing it. I've gotten more than a few nasty messages about it from the peanut gallery, and all my siblings' friends seem to think that it's insanely rude that I would pull a trick like this. I realize now that I probably should have just broken down all 3 of the quilt tops to spread things around. But God, it was so miserable rushing for months to get them done, only to have to split 2 of them just to expand them back out again. So, am I the a-hole for not giving my siblings an equal share of mom's fabric in their Christmas quilts? At this point, I feel like I should have just made 3 quilts and explained the problem and let them fight about it. Am I the a-hole for taking away my wife's car keys because she took away my TV? I've always split my income 50-50 with my wife. She is religious, Baptist, but I'm not. This has never been a problem for us, until this summer when I got a large raise at my job and I started buying things that she claimed were greedy and consumerist. I just told her I'm using my share of the income and I can buy what I want. I thought that was over her, But last weekend, I finally got a PS5 and bought a 65-inch 8K QLED TV. In total, it was about $5,000. I was really excited to watch the Super Bowl with my friends on it. I'm hosting a little party this year. But my wife was furious. She thought it was a terrible decision, and she didn't care I used my own money. When I came home from work on Monday, today is Thursday, my wife said she took away my TV. And sure enough, it was gone. I looked everywhere for it, but we have a modest 3-bedroom house, so who knows where it is now. I have been arguing with her for 4 days, and she's not budging, so this morning I finally snapped. I took away her car keys and also removed her tires. I told her I'll do the grocery shopping and our kids will be fine since they ride a bus, but I'm not giving her that car back until she gets me my TV. She's obviously furious, but the Super Bowl is in 3 days, and I'll be damned if I'm letting her control what makes me happy. So am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole that I won't rent to my nephew? I bought a home when I was out of college. It's a 3-bedroom home, and for the last 20 years, I have rented rooms to young professionals and interns near a tech hub. My nephew Jack is in his 30s and bounced around from job to job. My mother and my sister, his mother, want me to rent it to him at a discount because he wants to move the area. I already have 2 tenants, both around 22, and both are women. Jack has had issues with dating and with women. Reddit would put him as a neckbeard, so I don't want him to rent from me or be around my other tenants. Jack argues about the most ridiculous things. He has a mentality of a 15-year-old boy and would not even fit in with the atmosphere of the house, so I don't want him there. He was also evicted from his last place. His credit is I told mom and sister this and they have yelled at me about how he's family, and maybe this time he will find a place where he fits in. I put my foot down and said no. I will rent out the vacant room to someone else. My whole family's against me now. I don't want Jack living in my house because I know he's going to be an issue. It's going to be tough for him because he doesn't have a degree, and it's in an area that most jobs there require one. My mom, his grandma, keeps saying I should give him a chance, but in giving him a chance, it may be hard for me to move him out, especially since he's already been through the eviction process once.
So y'all, this story is recent as hell. This story just took place last week Wednesday, and I was like, I have to come on here and tell this story to spread awareness, you know, because it's a lot of fucking tips. I mean, it's a lot of new shit that people are trying to do to snatch people up. So I'm like, I gotta spread awareness with my sisters, I gotta spread awareness with my fam. Like, the girls and the guys, y'all need to be on y'all shit and pay attention to what the fuck is going on. So I'm like, let me go ahead and share this. Let me get comfortable. Go ahead and get straight into this video. So y'all, last week Wednesday, so everything started Tuesday. So on Tuesday, I went out with my homegirl. We went to Taco Tuesday or whatever, right? So I'm not gonna get into too much details about that. If y'all want to see that, make sure to look for the weekly vlog that should be coming probably tomorrow, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, when we went out on Tuesday, y'all, so the place that we went out to, it was not too far from my house. So the place ended at 1 a.m., right? So I got home around 1-ish, right? Because I'm not too far. So when I get home, y'all, mind y'all, when I go out, I don't get super drunk. Like, I don't do that shit no more because I just like to pay attention. I'm not trying to drive drunk. I'm not trying to do none of that shit. I just like to be on my shit. So if I'm driving myself, or even if I still like to be aware of myself, even if I'm with other people, I make sure I'm in control of me. Like, you know, so just me. I get home. When I pull up, y'all, my apartment complex, you have to use the gate opener to get in, right? So it's a car sitting right there at the gate. And I didn't think nothing of it, because usually when it's a car sitting right there, it's either one or two things. It's either like DoorDash waiting, or it's either somebody who forgot their gate open and they can't get in the gate. So 9 times out of 10, I will go ahead and just, you know, open the gate, let them in. So, and plus I want to get in the house. It's like 1 in the morning. I'm tired. Like, I want to go home. So y'all, I'm sitting there with my blinker on, and I realized they must have been sitting there for a minute. They ain't opening the gate up, so I opened up the gate. So when I opened up the gate, y'all, they start to back out, and they pulled over to the side and just pulled to the curb. So I'm like, whatever, it must be DoorDash, because DoorDash do that all the time because they won't have a way back in. So I end up just like whatever, and I pulled in and I park, y'all. So every time I park, I always bag in, whatever. So I don't never get out the car until that gate is closed. So I'm looking, I'm like, what the fuck, like the car's just sitting there, ain't nobody coming out. So I'm just still looking. I'm waiting for the gate to close because y'all, ain't nobody finna run up sneak me. Like I be thinking of crazy shit. I watch too many fucking shows like Criminal Minds and all other shit, so I'm like, I'm not about to just sit here and hop out the car, especially late night. And yeah, even though I be good but still not, you know, but still, you just never know. So anyway, the car ended up pulling off. I remembered the car, y'all. It was a white car. It was a white Pontiac, whatever. So the car ended up pulling off or whatever. Boom. I didn't think nothing of it. Go in the house. Next day, Wednesday. This is when shit goes. All right, let me stop. This is when shit started getting crazy. So it was Wednesday, and my homegirl hit me up like, hey, girl, you want to go to Applebee's for happy hour? So I'm like, yeah. So I end up going out or whatever, and y'all, Applebee's got some good happy hour. Them drinks be good and cheap. But anyway, so I end up going out or whatever. So after I went to Applebee's, we left, and when we left it was like 11, but we met up there. Like I met her up there. So I get home, well, I'm driving home. It's like 11 or whatever like that. Again, not too drunk because I was just drinking yesterday, and I don't like to do too much, like So I'm driving or whatever, and I noticed like when I get off the freeway and turn and like keep going for a little while, like a few turns and shit, I'm noticing the car that's in front of me, I'm like basically I'm behind the car, of course they're in front of me, but I'm doing the same turns that they're doing. So y'all, so how I be paranoid, I don't know who else is paranoid. So I'm thinking like, ooh, I hope they don't think I'm following them or nothing like that, right? So I'm like, let me like either go past them or something, because I don't want them to think I'm following them and then they do some crazy shit to me, like, you know. So I'm just driving, but I'm like, fuck, my focus, usually I pay attention to everything around me, but my focus is so much on this fucking car in front of me that I'm not even paying attention to shit else. So this next thing that happened, I don't know when or where when it took place, and I'm so mad at myself about that. So anyway, so I drive, and when I was turning on my street or whatever, they turned that way too, but they end up keep going straight. So I'm thinking, okay, they probably live around here or something like that, like, or, you know, but to get in my building, it's not just the one part, like, it's not just the one entrance. So they're like, okay, whatever. So other people was going in the gate that I go in from, right? So I go in, I end up parking, cut my car off. Again, I don't give a fuck if it's 20 people that just pulled in, and I see these people every day. I'm still not getting out my car until the gate closed, because, you know, people could see something happen to you and they don't do nothing. Like, they was just recorded or not do shit, and I don't got time for that. Like, you know, I don't have time for none of that to be, yeah, no, I ain't finna go there, because y'all. But anyway, so no, so I'm still just sitting there. My car is off. I'm sitting there. I'm waiting for the gate to close. So while I'm sitting there waiting for the gate to close, I noticed a car pulled up, but the car did not pull in. They sitting there at the gate, right? So I'm staring at the car because I'm just like, they didn't make that U-turn yet. Like, they just sitting there or whatever, right? So this car, when the gates start to close, the car hurry ups and pull in. Y'all, so when they did that, that's when I already was like, red flag number one, whoever the fuck this is, I'm finna watch you. Because y'all, like I said, the area where I park at, I kind of know the cars, like, you know, like, I don't know all the cars, but of course I see these cars every day, so it's like, I know. But this car, I didn't know, but I'm like, this car looks familiar, but I'm not paying attention. So it was a white Pontiac, y'all. Remember yesterday? Okay, so I didn't even think about that yet. At this point, I wasn't thinking about that. I'm just thinking like, this car kind of looked familiar, but who car is this? So when the car hurried up and pulled in when the gate was finna close, mind y'all, I'm in my car, but my car is cut off. So the person is driving this way, and my car, I'm parked over here. So when he's driving straight ahead. He never looked over to even see if it was somebody in the car, like to see if I was in the car. So this motherfucker pulls up, stops, skirt. I'm just kidding, he didn't do all that, but he did kind of pull in aggressive. Anyway, he pulls up, he stops right in front of my car, blocks me in, and hops out. Y'all, I was already like, what the fuck? So his window, I could already get a clear look on his face before he hopped out and all that, because his window was all the way down. The back windows was tinted, and it was like already, it was kind of like not all the way down or whatever, but it was like cracked or whatever. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. It's late, so I'm sleepy. But anyway, so y'all, the windows was cracked, his window all the way down. I'm like, what the fuck? It was an older man driving the car. So this already, I'm like, what the fuck? Why did he block me in? So I'm sitting in my car still, and he started getting out, walking towards my car. So I locked my doors, even though my doors was already locked. I locked them again. Like, I'm just like, oh hell no. So he goes and he started walking towards my car or whatever, and he's like, can you help me, can you help me? But he's walking all like limping and like dragging his foot, and like he's talking like he can't really comprehend. So I'm like, what the fuck? But he looked like, y'all, the way he looked, it was already like, he was scaring me. Like I was scared. I was already just like, what the fuck? So he hops out the car, he started walking towards my car, y'all, but he's walking. I really wish I could show y'all. So let's just pretend this is his feet. Never mind, it's not gonna work. I've not even thought to do that. But anyway, so he's walking towards my car or whatever, right? So I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, can you help me, can you help me? Like, but he's talking like, he seemed lost, like, and he was an older man. I don't know, he probably was like in his 60s, probably, I don't know. He was an older gentleman. So I'm just like, what the fuck? So he started getting, at first he was standing right like a distance, but at like my hood, and he was just like, can you help me? So I didn't say nothing, y'all. So when I noticed he started getting closer and asking like, excuse me, miss, can you help me? I rolled down the window just a little crack like this, because I'm just like, oh hell no, he's not about to spray something in here. And next thing you know, I'm in the backseat of his car on my way to get some crazy shit, like, you know. So I'm like, so I just cracked it a little bit. And I'm like, what? And he was just like, can you help me, ma'am? Can you help me get to this street and this street? He said he named 2 main streets. Mind you, one of the main streets that he named is the fucking main street that I live off of. So wherever the fuck you came from, you had to have pass this street up. So why would you? We'll get there. So anyway, I'm just like, okay, well, to get there you just need to go back out, make a left and make a right, and keep going down, and for a good 10 whatever minutes, and eventually I'm like, I didn't say all of that. I'm just thinking like, keep going down, you'll get there. So he's just like, no, I really need your help. This is my first time in California. I'm from Louisiana. Red flag number 2. Not the Louisiana part, but the fact that his first time in California, and you from Louisiana, and you had no accent, and you look like you in like your 60s. Come on now, don't play with me. So I'm thinking this is red flag number 2. Because y'all, my grandma came to California when she was in her 20s. And I could still pick up on her accent like from time to time. So, and she came from Louisiana. So I'm just thinking like, make it make sense. Like, what? So he had no accent, like nothing like that. So that was red flag number 2 to me. So I'm just like, he like, yeah, my sister let me drive her car and I got lost and this, that. He just starts saying all of that. And he's like, she said it's a little road I could take, but I'm not going to be able to figure out. And he was like, I don't. And then eventually, because I'm looking at him like, the fuck? Like the whole time I'm really looking at him like, through the window. And he's just like, so eventually he gonna say, ma'am, I don't mean no harm. But mind y'all, let me tell y'all, remember when I said he walked up talking about, can you help me? And I said he was talking kind of slurring, like he just didn't seem all the way there in the head. When he's telling me about his first time in Louisiana, he wanted to chuckle with me and shit. This time he's having a full-on conversation with me, and he's talking clear as fucking day. Like, he's talking clear as day. So I don't give a fuck about if it's your first time in fucking wherever the fuck. I don't care. So I'm just like, well, again, go out, make a left, make a right, go straight. So he was all like, I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. Man, he start patting his pockets, gonna say, how much can I pay you to take me there? Take you there. That's really what I said. I said, take you there. And he said, yeah, take me there. How much can I pay you to take me there? Because I can't figure it out. She said it's a little road that I could take. Little road? Bro, we are in Los Angeles. Well, I don't live in LA, but it doesn't matter where I live. But I'm just like, little road? We are not somewhere in a fucking corn maze. What little road? Like, Nick, what is you even talking about? I'm just like, you know, to me, he was really trying to play the vibe that I'm an older guy, and he was giving dementia at first, but then I started catching on. So I don't know if he was like really just trying to play like old man in distress, help me please, trying to prey on my heart, because I don't know, he may be psychic, or it was a psychic that I had met across the street. I don't know. Okay, let me stop. So anyway, so I don't know what the fuck he was doing with that whole little faking, like, oh, I'm so lost, whatever. So I'm just like, no, I'm just like, I can't take you there. He was like, no, well, I'll follow you there. I'll get in my car, my sister's car, and I'll follow you there, or whatever. So at this point, I'm so fucking like, oh my god, I'm thinking fight or flight, because I'm like, I watch these shows all the time. I'm thinking, okay, I could go off on this man, but if I make it known that I know that he's a fucking kidnapper, then he might pull out a gun and tase me. And you know, sometimes in them situations you really have to play it cool. You gotta play it cool, because I'm like, if I start going off on this man like, get your bitch ass away from here, then he might fucking pull the gun out and be like, get out the car. And it would be like, oh my God, you know. So I'm just thinking like, fuck, I gotta play it cool. So I said, okay, I'll take you. But I'm like, I said, okay, well, I'll let you follow me to the main street. And I said, and then you could figure out from there. So he's like, I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. He's talking clear as day to me, y'all. So he's talking clear as day to me, talking about he can't figure it out. So I said, I will show you where the main street is at or whatever, and then you can figure it out. So he's like, oh, okay, thank you, thank you. He was like, do you live here? So I said, no, I do DoorDash. Like, I just think of something that came up to the top of my head. I do live here, but I'm not about to tell you I live here. The fuck? So anyway, I'm just like, no, I don't know why I said I did DoorDash. I really didn't even have to say that. Mind y'all, we still talking through the crack of the window. I'm just nervous. Anything blurted out. And I'm not trying to be on my phone, because I know people probably think like, why you didn't call somebody or did this or that and the third. But it's like, if this man, I'm thinking like, if I start doing anything weird, like I was so confused, because I'm thinking like, what if this is really is an old man in distress? I'm like thinking like, damn, what if my grandpa, when he was alive, what if he would have did some shit like this? But I thought like, my grandpa would never do no dumbass shit like that. Like, why would my grandpa pull inside of a parking complex to ask a lady for help? Like, I was really thinking like, okay, never mind, my grandpa wouldn't do no shit like that, so let me stop him. I don't know, my head was just all over the place, right? So I'm like, okay, so I just said whatever so he could get the fuck away from my car, because when I was telling him I can't take you there and still trying to tell him directions, he would not leave. He was not taking no for an answer and all this other shit. So when I said, okay, so he could get the fuck away from my car, he ended up hopping back in his car. Mind you, I was not trying to take my eyes off of him in that fucking car, because it looked like somebody's in the back seat, but I could not fucking tell at this point. So it's like, I'm not trying to take my eyes off and look down and start texting or doing something, and next thing you know, the old man disappeared. He's on my roof, and while somebody else is now in my back seat strangling me. You know how it be in the movies. I know y'all thinking like, Simone, this is not a movie, but shit, I don't fucking know. People be training to do some shit, and I don't know. So I was just like, oh hell no. So I'm like, whatever. So he ended up hopping in his car, y'all, and I'm just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? So at first I'm thinking like, okay, well, I'm just about to drive out and then drive back in, but then I'm like, he's gonna follow me right back in. The gate take a fucking million years to close and shit, and then he's probably really gonna be like, bitch, you tried it. So I don't know. So I'm like, fuck, what's like, yo, what the fuck am I finna do, yo? What the fuck? So I'm like, what the fuck? So I had somebody come outside or whatever, and I had like, when the old man got in his car, I had somebody come outside, and when they came outside, I'm like, say what happened, da 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 da, and I'm like, can you tell this man that I'm finna just take him to the main, help him get to the main street? I'm really finna just go out, make that left, main street, boom. So they like, you not even finna do that, like, no, tell this nigga no. So I really was like, you know what, and I'm telling, like, trying to explain, I'm like, I'm not trying to say no, because I'm like, I will feel way more comfortable with him being gone. Like, I already said I don't fucking live here, but I will feel way more comfortable with him being gone, because what if this creepy ass weird man follow me and see what apartment I go inside of, and now, like, you know, I just would feel more comfortable with him not even being in this complex, like, you know. And some people probably think like, call the police, but I don't know how long it's gonna take for them motherfuckers to get here. By then he could have already dragged me by my fucking legs, and now I'm in a bando in a farm getting fucked in the ass by some crazy people. I don't fucking know. So y'all, I'm just trying to think on the top of my head at this point. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I pull out or whatever. So mind y'all, so when they tell him like, oh, she's just gonna take you to the main street, he's acting like he can't comprehend that no more. Now all of a sudden he can't comprehend. He's just like, oh, thank you, my wife would be so happy. Oh, thank you, Lord, thank you. So when I'm like, what did he say? They gonna tell me that he said that. I said, that nigga, I said, then they was like, oh, I think he can't comprehend. He don't seem all the way there. He giving dementia or something. I said, no, this man is playing. I said, because he was just having a full conversation with me, trying to pay me and all this other shit. So I'm like, oh, hell no, what the fuck? I need to just get him up out of here and all this other shit, right? So, because again, it could have been easy for me to just go in the house and call the police. But if I do that, now you know what house I went into. No. So I'm just like, oh my god, y'all, like, what the fuck? So anyway, so the man comes out, he follow, but mind you, in the parking complex, whatever, he's driving like stop go, he's driving like he can't fucking drive, right? So we pull out, I get to the light or whatever, and I go to the busy street, and then I'm like, I'm not about to just bust a U-turn and go back, because I don't want this man following me, like, because no, like, I don't want him to see I'm going right back to the same location. So I start turning to I put my blinker on like I'm going a whole different fucking way about to turn. I noticed this nigga put his blinker on. I know y'all probably thinking, if somebody's following you and probably chasing you, why do you have your blinker on? I have no fucking idea. Sometimes I do. I don't know, y'all. Like I said, I just came back from drinking. I wasn't drunk, so I was able to make decisions I think was good, but whatever. So anyway, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So I noticed, I'm like, this nigga is following me. So mind you, when I did that, I kind of like slowed down because I'm like, I'm about to see if he gonna follow me, and I wasn't gonna turn. I was gonna like fake turn and go a whole different way just to see what was up. So I noticed, y'all, when I was doing that and I kind of like was slowing down and he was like getting up on me slowing down, I seen somebody, because I'm looking at him through the fucking you know, that mirror right there, review mirror. So I'm looking at him through the mirror. I see somebody hop over from the back seat to the front seat. Y'all, at this point I'm clutching the heat. Yo, I'm like, I'm gonna have to, this is crazy. Okay, YouTube, act like I didn't just say that. But I'm just like, what the fuck? So at this point I'm scared. I'm like, oh hell no. So I just hurried up and just went straight, and now at this point I'm driving fast. I'm driving fast as fuck. This nigga is driving fast. He's keeping up with me. So I'm like, oh, this bitch is playing. This is crazy. So at this point I'm like, fuck, what can I do? Like, you know, like, so I'm driving fast as fuck. Then I'm like, oh, I'm finna bend a corner real quick. I was just like bending a few corners, you know. So I end up, and he's like hitting these corners too. So it was one street. Oh my God, y'all. This street I never turned down before. And it's like a few streets by my house where it's like just long ass streets of nothing until you get to the fucking next end where it's like 3 miles away or some shit, what it feels like. So I'm like, fuck. So I turned down this street and I'm like, oh my God. I put my motherfucking car in sports mode and I went vroom to the pedal to the motherfucking metal. This man was trying to keep up, but he couldn't keep up in that car because my car is already a sports car anyway. So I'm just like, yo, and I'm happy the street was windy, so it's like he couldn't see where I had went from there. Y'all, I ended up getting the fuck away or whatever like that and going back home, but it just was like, what the fuck? And when I got back home, it was like, what the fuck? Like, because I was on the phone, like, so everybody else are like, what the fuck? So y'all, so I ended up getting back home and I'm just like, yo, what the fuck? I was so fucking scared. I'm like, oh hell nah. So I did call it in or whatever, and then I had called the next day. I called my leasing office and told them what happened. So y'all, they had ran the cameras and they said like they seen the license plate and they confirmed it was the same car from Tuesday. So they was like, oh, they're gonna report it to the police or whatever like that. I don't know if they did. Hopefully they did or whatever. But y'all, I did too though. So I was just like, what the fuck? And I don't give a fuck. Somebody could be in the comments calling me snitch bitch all y'all want to, because the fuck, I don't care. Hopefully they find that man and save somebody's fucking life, because I honestly don't think that man was targeting me or whatever. Like, I don't think that it was like somebody's that's just been watching me for days or nothing like that. I don't think that. What I do think is that he sees this area and he feel like, oh, it's a lot of women. Because y'all, where I live in a big building and it's a lot of trails over here by my house. And instead of like, I mean, you could walk around, like when I did, because we have a gym here, so, but when I did like try to go for a walk, I walked inside the building or whatever. But it's a lot of people, I'm telling you, it'd be a lot of females by themselves or with friends, and they walk around the building by themselves late night, early fucking mornings, like be walking. So what I think is that he probably noticed that, and he probably was like, oh, let me get a victim playing old man in distress and let me get somebody. And what I'm thinking is he probably seen me them 2 nights in a row in the car alone and just assumed I'm by myself, like, you know. So I think that's really what it was, and probably was just like, okay, ooh, seen her again, let me get her. There's no victims out tonight walking, y'all. So that's really what I think. I don't think it was like somebody who's just like watching me or anything like that. Like, but so at the end of the day, I'm just like, oh hell no. So that's why I reported to the lease office so they could, you know, spread awareness. They did send an email or whatever, but I'm just like, no, because y'all, it's just so many fucking things that people are doing. I'm just like, everybody have to be careful. So that's why I really want to come on here and tell this story, because y'all. So I really want to come in here and tell this story because I'm like, it's so many ways that people are doing shit. Like, y'all, sex trafficking is fucking real. Like, kidnapping is real as fuck. Like, they have signs on the freeway about like sex trafficking and shit like that. Like, we really gotta be on our P's and Q's, not just women but men too, because people are kidnapping men as well. So I'm like, just don't fall for shit. Like, don't fall for nothing, because you just never know. Like, you just never know. Sometimes you being nice might put you in situations where it's like, now they're gonna be talking about you on the news like, oh, blah blah blah, thought he was nice, well, it was his last nice day. Like, you know, and it's just like, and I'm sorry, y'all, if I make jokes out of everything. I don't try to intentionally do that. It just happens. But it's a serious matter, y'all, because I'm like, out here, I heard about, like, before this happened, probably like way before I was born and shit, but they used to use kids, like they used to use little children, like have them outside late night, and then people would feel bad and go try to help the kids and ask them, where do you live, try to take them home, and then next thing you know, you get into a world of trouble, like with some crazy shit going on. So I just was thinking like, oh, maybe they're using old people now, or maybe this old man is really just a fucking psychopath his damn self, and you never know. So I was just like, what the fuck? Because again, that person who hopped from the back to the front, that was not no fucking child. That clearly was a big person. Like, I was just like, this is crazy. Like, I'm happy I did get out that situation though. And I hope they do find that man, because no, like, you're clearly not a lost man. Because y'all, the busy street by my house is 2 gas stations right there. It's plenty of stores. Like, I live by so much shit. Even though it was 11 at night, the gas station is always open. Like, you would think you would go, like, come on now, if you, and I'm already, when he was saying all this stuff was playing in my head, y'all. So it's like, you would fucking not go to the gas station and ask for help. You gonna pull into a random fucking apartment complex. And this is the other crazy cold part about it. This is the other cold crazy part about that I was thinking about, because I just think about so much crazy shit. What if this man lives in this complex? Like, you just never fucking know. Like, you just never know, because you just never fucking know. And I swear, I had did, what's it called, like, when I first moved here, because I do that everywhere I go, look on Megan's list. I need to know who and who is near me, like, you know, but whatever. But I just was like, you never know. But I don't know, it was just so much shit that did not make sense. And it's like, nigga, what if I was just happy and just, so yeah. But anyway, everybody, make sure you are protecting yourself and make sure you are checking your surroundings, because that's crazy as fuck. But yeah, that's the end of this story. I know it's short, but it was just a story. I just wanted to come on here and spread awareness. Like, y'all, this is fucking crazy. And it's crazy that it's been hard for me to upload this video. It's not even about, it don't even matter.
Hi guys, thank you for watching. I love you guys so much. Please like and subscribe to see more great videos. See you again.